Here is a work energy problem that I made up. So imagine that you have an asteroid with a 1.2 kilometer diameter and a density of 4,000 kilograms per cubic meter. So that's, a little bit higher than, normal rock is around 3,000 kilograms per cubic meter. But anyway, you have a package that you want to launch from the asteroid so that it escapes. And to do this, you're going to use a giant spring. And the spring compresses 1 meter and launches the package off. And you want to say, well, what kind of spring constant would you need for that? I mean, it's a pretty good problem. I like it a lot. Okay, so we're using the work energy principle. Work is the change in energy. And the first thing that we should think about is, what is our system? And maybe it makes sense to pick everything as our system. If I pick the asteroid, the spring, the package, all as my system, then there's no external interactions with the system, so the work done on the system is 0. So that means that's 0. Now, also I can think about what kinds of energy do I have? Well, the thing could move, so I could have kinetic energy, 1/2 mv squared. Technically, the asteroid can move too, but I mean, it's clearly going to be supermassive compared to a 22 kilogram package that we don't have to worry about that. So we're just going to have the kinetic energy of the mass. We're going to have spring potential energy because we can store energy in the spring, and that spring potential energy is 1/2 k s squared, where that's capital K for kinetic energy. That's lowercase k for the spring constant. That's what we want to find. And S is the amount that's either compressed or stretched. And then finally, we have gravitational potential energy. So if you said, oh, gravitational potential energy, mgy, well, that's true if you know g, the gravitational field, and if gravitational field is constant, which it is not. So we need to use the better form of gravitational potential energy. I'm going to call this U big G, which is negative the gravitational constant, universal gravitational constant g, the mass of the asteroid, the mass of the package over the distance between them. And there is a negative, and that is important. Now, for all of these, remember, we're dealing with a change in energy. So don't think, oh, the potential is negative. It doesn't really matter. It depends on what the change is. Okay. So we have our system. We have our types of energy. Now what we need to do is to pick 2 points in space, right? The work energy deals with a change in position. So what positions are we going to talk about? We're going to talk about this as position 1, where the mass is compressed against the spring and at rest. And then position 2 is over here, way far away. It escaped. And it just barely escaped. If it just barely escapes, the velocity over there at position 2 is 0. So now we can write our work energy equation. So we already said the work is 0. So I have 0 change in kinetic energy plus change in spring potential energy plus change in gravitational potential energy. Okay, let's write that out as 1s and 2s. So this is going to be 0 is K2 minus K1. That's the potential, the kinetic energy really far away, kinetic energy starting off, plus US2 minus US1 plus USG2 minus UG1. Many of those values are 0. Let's just see. Okay. What's the velocity it starts off with at rest? So the kinetic energy to start off with is 0. What about at the end? The kinetic energy is 0. So not only are they 0, they're the same. So it's 0 minus 0. So we don't have to worry about that. So it looks complicated, but it's actually not that bad. Okay, what about the spring potential energy? So spring potential energy 2 is when the mass is over there, and the spring is no longer compressed or stretched. So the stretch and compression is 0. There's no energy stored in the spring once it lets go. So that's 0. Now that's not 0, right? We're going to have it compressed. Okay, what about the gravitational potential energy? So when we get really far away, as r increases, what happens to this value? Well, it goes to 0. So if you're really far away, the final gravitational potential energy is 0. So that's that one. So now we only have 2 terms. That's kind of nice. Okay, so let's put down our 2 terms here. So I have 0. I'm going to put in my values. So I have minus 1/2 k s squared. That's s1 squared. That's the amount of stretch. That's 1 meter. And then I have minus the initial gravitational potential energy. It's going to be minus a negative, so plus g, mass of the asteroid, mass of the package over, I'll call that r. And so that r is the radius of this. So r is going to be 0.6 times 10 to the third meters. Okay, so what do I have? I have 1/2. S is 1. G, I know that. G is 6.67 times 10 to the negative 11th Newton meters squared per kilogram squared. You don't need to memorize that. I have the mass of the package. I have R, I already said that. I don't have the mass of the asteroid. So we're going to need to find the mass of this asteroid. Okay, so I know the radius, I know the density, so I can find the mass. The mass is just going to be the density times the volume. And now what's the volume of a sphere? So again, you don't have to memorize this, but you maybe have seen it before. Okay, so the volume of a sphere is 4/3 pi r cubed. So that's my mass. So I can find the mass. Let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to go ahead and put my values in. M is going to be 4,000. I'm going to leave off the units. 4/3 pi, and then I have 0.6, so I have 600 meters cubed. Okay, let's put that in our calculator one piece at a time. But you know, it's important that you show that. Don't just write numbers when you're solving a problem like this, because when it goes to get graded, it doesn't make any sense. You know, this is way more important than this, right? You can put in the numbers if you know the equation. Okay, so I have 4,000. I got to take my glasses, I can't see. 4,000, enter, 4 times 3 divided by pi, 3.1415 times, and then 600 cubed. So I go enter, I always get this wrong, 3 cubed. And then I multiply that, and I get a very large number, 3.62 times 10 to the 12th kilograms. Okay, just so you know, I mean, the mass of the Earth is 10 to the 24th, so that's not crazy. So now I have that. I have everything I need to solve for k. So let's solve this for k. I'm going to add that to both sides. I have 1/2 k s squared is equal to g m over r. I want to solve for k, so I'm going to multiply by 2 and divide by s squared. K is 2 g m over s squared r. Let's plug in our values again without the units. So I have 2, 6.67 times 10 to the negative 11th. And then I have this mass, 3.62 times 10 to the 12th. I'm going to run out of room. No, I'm not. 22. Whew, it's close. All that over 1 squared times 600. Okay. So I already have that number in my calculator. Oh, I broke my chalk. That stinks. Okay, so 2 times 6.67 times 10 to the negative 11th times 22 times 1 squared is 1. 600 divided by. And I get 17.7. That's actually a lot slower, but it's okay. So K is 17.7 newtons per meter. You know, if you have a clicky pen, you know, that's on the order of 1 Newton per meter spring constant. It's a very light spring. So this is, you know, something like not crazy. You could stretch it easily like that. It seems like it's very low. However, this asteroid does not have a very large gravitational field. I mean, it's big and it's massive, but it's only 10 to the 12th, and we have this gravitational constant of 10 to the negative 11th. So we're talking very, very small forces on it. So it doesn't take a lot to get these things escape. You could probably jump off of this. That's a really good real-world problem. Could you jump off of this and escape of this asteroid? Great question. Could you run on the asteroid? Another good question. But we'll look at that. We haven't looked at gravitational forces. We'll look at that one later. But there you go. Spring to launch a probe off of an asteroid.